Mm.
Our podcast is called Pizza Time.
Right.
Spider-Man 2 is an important pillar of our lives.
You're right. It is
Okay,
literally a
we
pillar
yeah,
of
yeah,
our of the small
yeah.
company that we
It
have.
Pizza time. Pizza time. Pizza time. You late?
Pizza time.
Pizza Time.
Alex, it
Ed.
has come.
It has come. It is here.
It is here.
It's
Spider-Man.
past.
It's past. We've watched it.
It's everybody should watch it. And this should be a movie our Indian audience cares about because Spider-Man India.
Spider-Man is India's in it. It's really great. Of course,
Yeah,
we're
we
talking
have
about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, if you haven't noticed
Yes.
already.
Sorry. Got ahead of the I jumped the gun. I jumped the gun. Ed's the
Look,
host, Alex. Ed's the host.
No, it's fine. It's hard though. I get it. I get it. When you see Pavitr Prabhakar, I hope I got that right. On screen, and we've been watching as many Indian movies as we have lately. You go kind of like, yeah, let's go. This is dope.
Yeah.
It's you kind of feel like it's actually we're still as America, we're still kind of going on this. We haven't forgotten about Indian cinema and the Indian culture, and we're happily putting it into our animated superhero movies. It's great.
Yes, it's
Right?
great. It's wonderful.
Well, anyways, this is not going to just be an episode for our Indian audience. It is going to be for everybody. Hopefully, even though these don't perform as well as others, of course, we're going to be covering Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Look, anybody who knows us too, right? Spider-Man's our favorite superhero, right?
Yeah,
That's easy to say.
absolutely. It's
Okay.
not even a question.
We absolutely love Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2
Yes.
is like probably not only my favorite superhero movie of all time, definitely in my top 3 movies of all time in general.
Same.
Same-ish. Okay,
This
cool.
is Ed.
Mm.
Our podcast is called Pizza Time.
Right.
Spider-Man 2 is an important pillar of our lives.
You're right. It is literally a pillar of the small company that we have.
It would be in my top comic book movies of all time, if not top movies of all time. So
Exactly,
yes, it matters to us.
It's huge. It's huge. Again, I cried like a baby seeing No Way Home,
God.
right?
Of course you did. Yes.
It's such a big part of our lives. So to know that the first movie Spider-Man Across Into the Spider-Verse back in 18. 18. Okay. 17.
18.
I think it was 18. To know that did really well for Sony is a good thing. And that it gave us one of the best Spider-Man movies that we've seen. Also, just animated film. I think I would say a masterclass of animated films. When I saw that movie, I said, "This is the movie. Like all animation is going to be put up against for at least maybe 10 years." It's just so good. You agree, right?
Yeah. I remember I got to see the movie earlier than you did because I was working on. I was working on a video series that we had worked on at our employer, and I got to see the movie earlier, and then the next week another screener happened, and I told everybody, you have to go watch this movie. And one of our friends called me and told me, I remember sitting next to you and you had already seen it and your eyes were still just wide in loving it, and I was like, yes. The first movie just blew me away. It's insane.
Yeah. Would you call it a masterpiece?
The first movie is a masterpiece, in my opinion. Yes.
Okay.
I also agree. It is a masterpiece.
I also agree. I've watched it multiple times already, and every time I get the same feeling. And it's just it is a masterpiece.
Makes me happy.
Even at the very least, animation, just like all the different styles that they utilized, and just the pacing and how funny it was, and the performances. It all just really came together lovely.
Yes.
So now that we prefaced it with that, here's the second movie, the sequel, Across the Spider-Verse. This time around, coming in a lot quicker than the first one, but a lot more people behind the screen to get this out because it was such a success. And
most animators ever. I believe.
Most animators ever. It's also one of the longest animated movie ever. For those who didn't know that, ever. At just 2 hours, it is the longest animated movie ever. It's kind of weird to think about that, but it is. And we got the whole cast back. And this time around, what's happening is that Miles. The story is that we realize that there's a bigger universe out there that we finally have access to. We get to see the entire Spider-Man. What do they call themselves? Spider.
They call them like Elite Spider Unit or something like that.
Yeah, well, that's like is that the whole society that we see, or is that just like their little unit? I forget. But like essentially, we get to finally see this congregation of all the multiverse Spider-Man at once.
Mhm.
And it's the first time that Miles gets to see it, and he falls into it. We see Spider-Man 2099, who's sort of like the de facto leader who's trying to keep it all together. It's sort of like a jump off point from what we started with in No Way Home, strangely enough. I think they really did kind of like, or they're continuing this story of like, oh, there's like, yeah, there's a multiverse here. And
Mm.
the spider people are actually really attuned to it more than any other characters in the Marvel universe at the moment,
Right.
clearly.
Yeah.
And Miles has to deal with this idea that the idea of Spider-Man being something that you can't change. And he has to deal with the idea of like, well, I'm gonna either fall to that or go to my own go
Yeah.
through my own motions and figure it out. This is also just a part one, technically, to a part two that's coming out next year. So it does end in a cliffhanger. Which we'll get into. I don't know. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people are going to be angry about that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't, but we'll get into it. Before we get into it, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell if you like our stuff. Also, thank you, subscribers. We're almost at 800. 800. Like literally
Yeah.
every week, we're basically getting
We're
100
5 away.
subscribers. We're 5 away. 5 away, guys. Let's do it. And we're almost
Yeah.
at the 1K. Let's freaking
Yeah.
do it. But thank you as always. Thank you, and we love the comments. So. I know that a lot of the traction will come from our Indian movies, but still, thank you regardless. So here we go. Don't forget to subscribe. All right, Alex. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So I'm going to ask you to go first. I want to know what
Okay.
your thoughts were.
Okay.
Because I've just been excited for it. You told me not to say a goddamn word ever since I
Yeah.
saw
Yeah.
it earlier this week.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to say what I have to say, but I want to hear from you first. So what do you think of Across the Spider-Verse?
So, yeah, I told you not to say anything because my hype level was too high. I didn't want to
Yeah.
go into this too much, and then be disappointed. But yes, Across the Spider Verse is very, very much an excellent, excellent sequel. It is, it's an insanely frantic movie, and there's a lot going on. So I think it's easy to be kind of overwhelmed at times. Um, I do think the story is very good, especially Miles. I love seeing, even though we've seen it on screen, like what, 6 times now or something. But I love seeing
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Miles, Peter, whoever it is, Spider-Man kind of struggle in his daily life,
The
struggle to
Spider-Man
the
struggle,
Spider-Man
yeah,
dilemma. I think
hasn't
that's what
changed too
makes,
much.
yeah,
Yeah,
you really don't need to change the formula because I think it works
you
every
don't.
time. You
No.
know, it's something that other superheroes really don't have. So I really enjoyed seeing that, and it's something that other superheroes really haven't been able to capture. Like Miss Marvel tried to capture it, and it didn't work.
You're absolutely right. I had a
Yeah,
point about that. Yeah, you're
yeah.
absolutely right. Keep going,
So
though.
I think that I have no problem seeing any of that stuff. It's really nice. I think the movie is 10 minutes too long. Like at
Oh, interesting. Okay.
toward the end, I was
Alright.
kind of like, okay, we'll get to spoilers in a second, but like, let's come on. It feels like we're dragging it out a little bit because you
Yeah.
have to set up so much stuff jumping into
It's
part two.
coming
Yeah,
forward, yeah.
yeah, like you have to like you need to see all this and that, but you could have done it a little bit quicker.
Sure.
But overall, I thought the movie was great. I really, really liked the movie. I think the first one is better. I'm gonna say that now. Um, I mean, like all you read is this is very much Back to the Future 2, and it is. And I think Back to the Future 2 is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's filled with like there's a lot of problems with Back to the Future 2, and Ed loves Back to the Future 2.
Yeah,
But
it's my Back to the Future, yeah.
yeah, so like there is a lot of problems with that movie, and I think there are problems with this movie, and we'll get into them. But still, it's an immense amazement in animation. It's just so like it's amazing what they did. Kind of it's hard to I can't even put words to it because it's kind of hard to put
I
my head
agree with you.
around it
I agree with you.
in terms of what they did animation wise. Jason Schwartzman as the villain, I think is going to be very very good. I think they did a nice job setting him up in this. Um, and yeah, overall, I thought it was a very great movie. Not as good as the first, maybe a tinge overhyped. I mean, there's a lot of people saying it's the masterpiece. It's the best comic book movie of all time. You know,
Uh,
we have friends who
okay.
write shit like that, so they can get onto the Disney or Sony commercials, and then they can post about, oh, look at my life, it's so great. But that's what we do. Again, it's not better than the first for me, but it is good.
Yeah.
And I did really enjoy it, and it did its job because I am very, very hyped for Beyond the Spider-Verse and
Right.
what the potential of that movie could be. So, what did you think about it?
So, it's a great review, by the way. I don't agree in the sense
Hmm?
that I am in the camp that this is better than the first one.
You liked
I
this better than the first, really?
I absolutely adored this movie.
Mm.
It's like at this point, it's like picking diamonds. Like I do think the first
Yeah,
one's a
yeah, yeah.
masterpiece.
Yeah. At this
Yeah,
point, like, yeah,
it
yeah,
was like we're both obviously saying they're excellent.
yeah,
They're just
absolutely.
these are a different level than any other movies or superhero movies in particular that we're even talking about. So let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
excellent.
Yeah, yeah.
I particularly really like this film because I thought what it did. I understand everything. Like some of the criticisms I'm hearing, I'm like I totally 100% understand. Like
What are
it's
some
a
of the
little
criticism?
well, like the one that it's a little hectic, right? Like the pace is just like boom. It's a little too hectic.
But the pace isn't okay. Well, what? Keep going. Finish your review, and then I'll call
okay,
back. Sorry.
okay.
Keep going. Go. Sorry.
A lot of people are saying like the pacing is like a little too like zoom, like just a little too fast, a little too I was gonna say
Erratic.
erratic. Hey, some people, I don't know. I'm not gonna judge you. It's a little too erratic. The story, a big one is that people are like, well, there's a cliffhanger, it's not done. I'm gonna get into that later. I'm like, well, we knew that it was a part one. It's actually technically not done yet. Whatever. However you want to see. We'll talk about how parts in movies like come together, and is that really like a movie as a whole? Whatever. But
Mm.
there's that. Like a lot of people are saying that, and then a lot of people are saying that I feel like, yeah, because of the sort of erraticness of it, the story is harder to sort of like easily get into and sort of
I think I
enjoy
disagree
than
with
the
that.
first.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
I would absolutely disagree with all of
Yeah.
those things.
Those I disagree
What I
with.
think, well, first of all, the animation is just as good as the last time, if not better. It's
Yeah, definitely.
it and the choreography that has to be done with a lot of these sequences. I'm like, how did you guys even do this in this shorter amount of time? Obviously, they just threw blood, sweat, and tears at it, but still, it's like insane, right? Like
Hmm.
just and it's 2 hours. Like just it's mind-boggling to me. And it's just everything, every little frame is just like that's fucking perfect.
Mm.
But what I loved about this story is that it's more efficient than the first. Like I can't think of a scene where I'm like that it retracts and doesn't like push the narrative that is moving forward, and it goes with the pacing as well. So like it's just a movie that goes. It just goes. And the story, I love the story a lot. It's not, as you said, it's not a different Spider-Man story. It's the
Right.
classic like we have to sacrifice. Spider-Man is the classic sacrifice,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But they just do it so well, and the way they tie it to all the characters this time. Gwen, the opening, it's like a Spider-Gwen movie. I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, what a smart move to not start with Miles and to go with Gwen and stretch out her story. I was crying by the time like she like revealed her spoiler alert at this point that she reveals herself to her father.
Wait, yeah. Wait.
Yeah, so
Spoilers start
anyways,
here.
yeah,
Yeah, here. Okay.
everybody knows. Sorry, we need to put this in the title.
I'll put it in the description. Don't worry.
All that stuff just really worked for me. And
Yep.
it's just, I think every little beat where they introduced new characters just worked, kept working until the end, where it's like it just keeps building, and it just doesn't let go. The whole time I was just like this, the whole time I was just completely locked. And if a movie can take me for 2 hours completely locked, make me laugh, also really funny, make me cry, and then dazzle, I don't know. I don't know what else. I can't say anything bad about it at this point. So that's me. I fucking loved this movie.
But you're not telling me why it's better than the first.
I said, it was the story. It was the efficiency of the story. Like it just I can't it was like a roller coaster for me.
Okay.
It just leapt and then just kept going. And it never faltered. For me, every scene just kept building, and I never got bored. I just kept like there was always a momentum of pushing forward. I mean, okay, I'm not
I
saying that
do
the
agree
first
with
one
that.
didn't.
Yeah.
but there was just an extra little bit of that this time. You like really felt it. Like I felt it going, just like really pushing.
Funny. That's really
and
funny.
On a emotional level as well. So that's why I think it's better than the first, because I'll be watching this and I don't think I can just stare away at any point. I think I'm just gonna be kind of pretty much locked on the whole time. So that's why I think it's better. But I also want to say that I loved your analogy to Back to the Future Part 2, because not only is it like that narratively and structurally at this point, I think people are going to feel the same way about this movie as some people do with the first part of BTTF and the second part, where it's like some people like the first one a lot more, some people like the second one a lot more, but they're kind of like they're basically kind of still the same movie.
They're the same movie,
but it's just like picking anyway. So I love that analogy. But let's get into it. So like, so what do you have to say to that? What do you have to say about what I
the only thing I would say is like I think we're you know we're nitpicking here in terms of which movie is better. But for me, I think I had that feeling in the first where we were just pushing through, and I never got bored. And I've seen the first so many freaking times, and I still have never gotten bored. And I don't think I ever got bored in this movie, but there were moments I was like, kind of like, okay, we got to move on here. Like,
really?
I thought, like, for instance,
since
we're in the spoilers here.
Give me
the chase where he brings all the spider people out to chase him out in Nueva York, where is Spider 2099's home, right?
Nueva York, yeah.
Where he's trying to chase everybody out, and then all of them follow him. I thought that chase went on a little long. I was like, holy shit. Like it was still going. I was like, and
it didn't end. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I was like,
it was a long
where's this going? And is this gonna end? Like, and again, I didn't get bored. I was thoroughly entertained.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay,
you started
come on,
to wonder,
let's go here.
Where's the next step here?
Yeah, because I was like, you got to get back home. You got to get back. I was like, come on. And then I loved all of Gwen's story. But I think I felt like we didn't get enough of Miles on his own planet doing his own thing. But I can understand.
Really?
I think that I thought it was cut a little short, but I can understand why it was cut short, because you have a massive amount of story and exposition and a lot of stuff to give, because you got to start to explain here all the spider people, all this. But yeah, I think that.
Okay, that was
here's the other thing that I think I think where I got. I don't know about you. On your screening, did you have any issues hearing some of the dialogue?
Okay, yeah, I saw that.
Dude,
no, I'll say no.
You saw that.
There is an article out right now that is.
Oh, really?
Yes, that the people are having a hard time hearing things. Like it's a fucking Christopher Nolan movie, and
I couldn't hear some stuff. I was like, what did you say?
I didn't miss a thing.
I wonder if it's like by theater chain or something, like if they're messing up the mix or something. But I think maybe that also had something to do with it. I missed some stuff because I was like,
really? Like what part? Like what parts? I'm curious because I didn't. But obviously, it's a thing.
There was a bunch of Spider-Punk dialogue that I didn't get, which also has to do with the insane with his accent. But
it's a heavy accent.
It's a heavy accent, but like when he's talking and I could hear him clearly, I was like, oh, I understood that. But there's other stuff I was like, I can't hear him.
Really?
So I leaned over to Olivia and I was like, can you hear him? And she goes, no. And I was like, interesting. I can't hear him very well. AMC? Who else couldn't I hear? No, I was at Regal Theater. So I couldn't hear him very well. Who else was it that I couldn't hear all that well? I could hear all of Peter B. Parker, Gwen Stacy. I heard well. Let's see. Oh, there's some Spider-Man India that I couldn't hear. I couldn't hear some of his dialogue, and I was like, I can't hear his dialogue. There was some lines Miles said, and I was like, I can't fucking hear him.
That is so weird. No,
I think that had something to do with me liking it a little bit less. But
I mean, that's understandable. It is understandable. I would hate it if I couldn't hear shit either.
Right.
That's unfortunate. Yeah. No. At my screening, and it was a screening. Maybe
it was a screening, right? Maybe it was just
AMC,
Mitch properly.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's just really interesting to me that I didn't know it was like a. I didn't know it was a thing. I thought it was just me because I'm deaf. Like I can't hear. Not deaf, but like I can't. I have.
You don't have perfect hearing.
People. It's a problem for me. What do you say?
Okay. Yeah. So no, well, look, it goes to show that it's true because you didn't even know about it. And I
Mm,
saw an article. I think it was like
mm.
yesterday that's saying like, oh yeah, people were like, I can't hear shit. I'm like, what's going on? Yeah, weird.
Interesting,
I don't know.
interesting, interesting.
Hopefully
All
that
right.
is not a problem that persists to
Yeah.
people. They fix that, but I didn't. I was perfectly fine. So to go off of what you were saying, your note about it being staying not enough on Miles' story, I actually have the opposite feeling. I was like, oh, they're like, at least with his parents are like way more in this movie and like
Mm.
that I thought in the first one. And so that made me feel like, oh, we're actually staying longer on this stuff than I
I meant
expected to stay.
Miles exactly, I think.
Like
Not
Miles as a
like
character, like
yeah.
himself.
Like we don't really see anything else. We see him struggle a little bit and that's it. But, I think I really like we get the
I
montage of where he's trying to get somewhere and he keeps beating up all the enemies. Like that's really funny. I
I
wanted a
think
little bit more of that.
I
But
think where I
I
got
think the point is your point comes across, so it's fine.
Yeah, I think where I got a lot of Miles was at home. And that's what I kind of liked
Mm,
about this one more is that they spent actually a good amount of time
mm,
about it being about the parents, both Gwen and Miles. That was sort of the connection,
that's a good
and
point.
the amount of time they spend with like making that story of,
Mm,
you're growing up and we just don't want to lose you,
yeah.
was obviously the heart of the story of this movie. And I thought they spent actually a lot of time. So
Yeah,
for me, I got a lot. And I know maybe I just, it's a relatable thing. I've been dealing with a lot of that in my personal life lately. I just been thinking about like my parents and that whole thing, like just moving forward and all that. So I think it really uh it related to me a lot more, and so I was like with it. So
mhm.
I had the opposite reaction in that sense. But I can see that. I can see why that could be different. But yeah, it's anyways.
Yeah.
Um
Alright, let's move on to
let's
details
move on
about it itself.
to,
Yeah.
let's what other aspects of the movie did you is there anything else you didn't like? Or
No, that was it. I
all
just
right,
thought again, I think the thing that got to me the most again is I just felt like
more time with Miles.
well, more time with Miles, but like I do think that like we lingered on a little bit of
Linger.
of things a little too long.
Okay.
Like again, you know I loved the Gwen Stacy opening. I thought we lingered on Gwen just a little too long. I loved the spider chase, but I thought we lingered on the spider chase too long. It's like let's throw in some more cameos here, but we could cut 5 minutes from that and give us not 5 minutes, but give some
Yeah.
time from that and give us some more character beats with.
The place I would agree
Those
with you on, the place where I would agree, if I could agree with you on anything, is that yeah, I think that chase probably was maybe a little bit too long. I
Mhm.
could at that point I think I was just the movie had me, so I didn't really care. But I can agree with that. That
Yeah,
chase definitely was a beat probably a little too long.
and it felt like we're just serving up cameos to serve up cameos. That's what that
Sure.
entire chase felt like.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you have that great scene where everybody goes. You see all the spider people, right? And everybody's has like a different suit, and it's cool and all that jazz. And there's so many cameos, and it's really cool. It's really cool. But at that point, it just felt like that scene's there just to serve some more cameos. And
Right.
to me, I don't need that. You gave me Spider Punk, you gave me Ben Riley, Andy Samberg playing Ben Riley. Um
Yeah, so
you
good.
you gave me Spider-Man India who was so much fucking cooler.
Fantastic.
Oh, that was so cool.
Fantastic. I love his
Uh
design and his little
yeah.
yo-yo thing.
Yeah,
Sorry, it's not
and
a yo-yo.
every
I don't know
yeah,
what
not
it's
a
called.
yo-yo.
I don't know what it's called.
Oh, a Bengal, I think, right? Or something like that. Is another
I don't know. Sure.
anyway. Um yeah, so I loved all that stuff. So I didn't need more thrown in just for
The
a
sake of
cameo's
that.
sake.
Yeah.
I think that's where that chase kind of lost me.
Sure.
Give
Yeah.
me I really, really like Jason Schwartzman's villain. Give me some more time
Yeah.
with him,
I agree.
Take some time away from that, if that chase is shorter, I do think that the movie overall may, like, if this is Spider-Verse and this is across the Spider-Verse,
It would have been
like,
like right
I think
neck
it
and
would
neck.
have been even if that chase is short and you give you some more time with Schwartzman, and I think you wrap up the ending because it's shorter than I'm not feeling the lull of the ending parts, because let's get into the ending because we'll have to
I
talk
wanted
about
to
that.
that's the thing I wanted to ask you next is about the ending. So let's get into
Yeah,
that.
sure.
So, it ends with this reveal that Miles comes back home, but it's not his dimension, which
Yeah.
I loved.
Hmm.
Um, and then we
Did you
learned
catch
that
it?
No, I didn't catch it right away.
I
I was like,
caught it.
"Holy shit!" Well,
I
the
caught it.
moment I knew was the obvious thing was then when they were cutting between Miles and Gwen, and Miles clearly Gwen's world was raining, and
Yeah.
Miles wasn't. I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, we're
Oh, well,
clearly
yeah.
in a different world, but
I
what
didn't.
world
I
are
didn't
we
catch that
in?"
at all. I
Yeah.
caught it when it said 4, and I was like, "Wait a minute, he's not from Earth
Yeah,
40.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
from
Oh,
Earth
like when
50."
he was going, when he was
Yeah,
like
yeah. When they send
transporting.
him back home, and I was like,
It didn't click with me right away there.
"Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah."
Yeah, yeah. It was the rain thing.
It
I was like,
clicked with
"Okay,
me
this is
immediately, and
clearly."
I was like, "Oh
Uh-oh.
shit!" And then the
Yeah.
art style was different because he was
Yes.
much more like. First of all, the world was like so
Deeper,
much darker, and
darker.
he was so much more vibrant. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Uh-oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's not in the right place, is
It's
he?"
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
great.
a that's a
I liked it.
great pull your rug out from
I
under
liked
you
it because we were
moment.
just
Yeah,
so that chase gets you like so wrapped up, you kind of forget about that stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then you're like, holy shit. You realize that this is a world where his uncle had not died, the Prowler from the first movie. Good to see him back.
Hmm.
But then you then you doubly realize not only is he his uncle back, but he's not the only Spider-Man or Miles in that world. And that in
Hmm.
fact, his Miles in that world is the Prowler of that world and is the villain, and that's the whole end. So and then it's like, okay, we'll set up for Beyond or whatever.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say about that ending. I If there was anything I was like a little like, oh, interesting. Um, I don't know if I was I don't know what your reaction was when you find out that Miles is Prowler there and that I guess he might be versing himself in the final movie. I actually was thinking it was gonna be something more than that, but I still like it. I came around to it. I was like, okay, that's actually a pretty good story though. I like it. I just thought it was gonna be something
Yeah,
different and bigger in a sense.
so yeah, yeah, I think now that we're in this section, this is that was the other beat that disappointed me. I thought they could have done something better. I would have
Yeah,
had Peter Parker be the Prowler
sure, sure,
and
sure. Yeah,
have him look exactly like Peter B. Parker, where Miles has to have a moment really where it's almost like mentor versus
yeah,
protege.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Like in that I think that would have been cool. But going against yourself, I can get it. But it
Well,
was a
that being
little.
said,
I was like,
we don't know what we have stored. It could be fucking amazing for all I
right,
know because we
right,
don't
right, right.
know yet. But I think I'm in the camp of like, okay, that's cool. I like it. I like it. I didn't have that like, holy fuck, like it's this
Yeah, yeah.
person.
It would have been
It's like,
better to
oh, it's
me if it was
yourself.
like,
Like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
well
yeah.
that's cool. But I kind of wish it was like something else, but it's fine. Who
Would
knows
have been
what's
cool
gonna
if it
happen?
was his dad.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't know how you feel. I don't particularly attach to his uncle
Right,
that much.
right.
Mahershala Ali's character, I forget his actual name. What's his name? Like his
Aaron, Uncle Aaron.
Aaron, Uncle Aaron. He's not the uncle that I
That's
attach to
Mahershala
out of a
Ali.
lot of the. Yeah, isn't that Mahershala Ali? Yeah, it's Mahershala Ali.
Wow,
Yeah, yeah, that's him. Um,
I
so
know that.
I think if look as a part of the story, I think that makes like the overall arching story. I think that makes sense. But
Mhm.
as a character, I was kind of I didn't really was like I wasn't trying to look for his uncle again. That's not where I
Yeah,
was going for. So I was like,
yeah,
okay. So if I had like a little bit of like I don't think it was that. But at the same time, it's not over yet, right?
yeah,
It's not over. This is meant to be one movie at one point.
yeah.
So I had to keep in mind that it is supposed to be a whole movie. It's not done. That being said, how did you? You didn't have a problem with the whole cliffhanger ending, did you?
No, no, no. I mean, look,
Yeah.
I think I can see. I will play that part though. I can see how people will have that issue because again, people aren't like you and I. Sure, the people that watch this podcast, but there is such a thing called the general audience that isn't obsessed with trailers, that isn't obsessed with reading about that stuff, that doesn't understand, that doesn't know that this is part one of part two. That this at one point was supposed to be one movie. That is I think that's something that I think if you're a general audience member and you do have an issue with that, I think that's completely fair. But no, I wasn't bothered by it at all. I think the setup for part two is really cool. I'm happy. Let's get into that. I'm really, really happy to see those characters back together and the team from Into the Spider Verse kind of expand. So now you got Spider-Man India. You have Spider Punk in there. Uh, who else do you have, man? Jeez, you have so many people.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, we do.
Spider Bite, she's in there.
Yeah, yeah,
Plus,
right.
Peter Porker, he's back.
And
Spider
we
Man
got
Noir, so
Spider-Man
Nick Cage will be
Noir.
back.
Everyone was wondering like if where did these
Yeah,
other characters go,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is great. Yeah, I'm equally as excited. Again, come on, man. Again, we have two diamonds here. I can't see beyond being any different.
Yeah, I
I think
agree.
it'll be pretty. Though I will say, because I like this one even more than the first. I don't know if the third one's gonna like. It would have to be. I don't know what they'd have to pull up their ass, but it'd have to be pretty fucking insane for
Yeah,
me to be like, okay, that's the best one out of the bunch. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm really excited.
I
I think they
I
did a good job of
I
you know,
personally think the third one can be the best one out of the bunch,
sure.
and I'll tell you why. I think we're heading towards a spider war, and
Mm.
I think it's going to be really really cool. I think
Spider-Man
by
versus
the
Spider-Man.
yeah, and I think
Yeah.
by the end of it, I
I
think
mean,
by the end of it, we could see, the Miguel O'Hara and Jess Drew and Ben Riley kind of revert back to being good to fight the Spot, who could probably destroy all the multiverse.
yeah.
And I do think we'll get even more cameos. I do think we'll see, or hear, maybe not see, but hear a Garfield and Maguire and Holland.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
think we'll hear them.
That would be pretty insane. Oh,
Yeah,
oh, well, let's actually
and,
I forgot
and
about those. Well, keep going, and then I want to get into that after. Go ahead.
and I think that uh, I think we'll do that because this movie's done. It's already written. It's still being
Oh, it's
animated.
done.
It's not
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
get. They're just working on final touches now, which final touches are gonna take like 7 months to 8 months. But um, with all the delays, with the writer strike and everything, this is Sony's chance to kind of put in these guys and keep them in the forefront of everybody's memory.
Of course.
Because it could be the last Spider-Man film for a while. I don't know when the writer strike will end. I don't know, when we'll see that Miles Morales live action movie. None of that stuff's happening until the writer strike's over. So we don't really need it. So I think Sony will do that to basically get people excited.
Bro, I don't think this strike can last that long past the next movie. There's no way. Like Hollywood would burn down before that ever happens. So someone's gonna give by then. I would assume. Hopefully,
I'm assuming someone gives by August.
I'm
I
gonna say
think.
about like the next month.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I think August at the latest is a fair
Unless
bet.
unless there's been some reserve that we don't know about where they're paying
Well,
every writer that currently does not have work. So I
yeah,
don't know.
the writers will want
People
the
gotta
money,
eat.
and yeah,
People gotta eat.
but and Hollywood, the studios, they prepared for it. They prepared for it to be a long time because they bought up a bunch of scripts, so they're
Yep.
ready for it to
Well,
wait.
what's funny, and this is such a side non sequitur, but like just really quickly, people keep talking about who's going to give up first. A lot of people, I think, keep wanting to say that it's going to be the producers.
Hmm.
I think that's not the case. Like the production studios just have much more leverage in the
Hmm.
monetary world to keep them up longer. Again, when you're talking about people who need money to live,
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know. I hope it's them, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know, man.
yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
okay,
Back
let's
to
move
Spider-Verse.
on to those cameos because there was a slew of just wild and wacky cameos from the Lego verse to the not the usage of old films from the Garfield verse, from the Toby verse, and then we get that freaking weird cameo of what's his face, Donald
Eh,
Glover as
Donald
a
Glover,
Prowler, who I assume is the one from
No Way Home,
so
or
Homecoming,
Homecoming. Yeah,
right? It has to.
I
That is, I think he's the Homecoming. Or it may not be that movie or that universe, but I think he's like they're saying
I
that he is the Prowler of some verses,
I
right?
think he
Anyways,
is that one.
weird.
Yeah, but it was really weird. It was like
It's a weird one.
I don't understand why you did that, because now you're gonna get, all you're gonna do now is, I'm sure it's meant to be a one-off and we're never gonna see him as Prowler in live action.
I don't think so.
But it was yeah, it was a weird one because it's
It's
like now
weird,
now you
bro.
got people like they're gonna be like, well, I want to see him as Prowler now, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
Do
gonna
you?
happen.
Do you though?
I don't
I don't know.
I don't really know if that's gonna happen. So maybe chill out.
No one really wants to see Donald Glover as an actor right now, I think, at all right now. Like no one's clamoring for Donald Glover to be in anything.
Is it?
You know? No,
Yeah, I think they just want more music from him, right?
yeah, because he's like not really turned out to either like he doesn't seem like he gives a shit. Let me put it that way. In which case, like that's fine. But then,
I
yeah,
would
then
say
then why should we give a
that's
shit? I'm not.
that's pretty true. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at what movies has he been in, and look at the ones that he's done, and you go like, okay, well, all right, whatever. But so it actually surprised me he did decide to do this cameo because
Yeah.
one, it felt like he just shot it on his iPhone in the backyard, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it didn't look amazing. But at the same
Definitely.
time, you have an animated movie for 2 hours, and then you have just like this live action piece in the middle of it. It's gonna look weird no matter how you do it. So
Yeah.
I think it's part of the charm in a weird sense,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
didn't. It didn't. I don't think it did him any favors in a sense.
Yeah.
I
I
was like, this
agree.
is just a weird cameo, bro. Anyways, is there anything else you had with like the other cameos you saw or that you thought interesting and had fun? Maybe something about the
Uh,
Garfield or Toby
I
stuff that you
love
saw.
seeing. No, I mean the Garfield stuff is just old footage. I
It's
mean
just
it
old
makes
footage.
sense. It's like I do. We haven't really talked about the canon event that makes Spider-Man Spider-Man because
Yeah,
it does seem like a bit of a plot hole to me.
go for it.
Wo- Wouldn't Miles's uncle Aaron dying be his canon event? Like, why does his dad also have to die?
I
Like, he
think it's
already lost his uncle. Like, I don't get it. Didn't he already have his canon event to make him Spider-Man? That was the event that shot him into the Spider-Verse. So, why is his dad's also a canon event? I'm confused about that.
You're not wrong about that. So they have okay. So hold on. A canon event is something a staple in a general Spider-Man's lives that has to happen in order for like them to exist or some shit like that, right?
Right.
I was wondering if they were trying to say, well, is it either that the uncle or the captain or whatever, yeah, captain is a Spider-Man's canon event, or it's like one or both. It's like one or the other. I assume
I
they
thought it
meant
was one or the other.
well, yeah, I that well, clearly I guess it is, but at the same time, I thought it was like one. It was yeah. I don't know. It was a single version, but I guess it's both because like that
Yeah.
doesn't really make. You're right. I'm not sure if that
Yeah.
really makes sense. In which case, maybe it does mean both. I don't know. I think they're a little vague about that. I'm sure they meant well, yeah. For some people, it's the captain. For some people, it's your uncle or whatever. So, but yeah, I would imagine it was
Yeah. Wasn't that his
his
canon event?
his
But
uncle dying,
but
but it also wasn't supposed to be Miles
right,
in
it's
his universe.
the spider from a completely different place. So, and his Spider-Man was never supposed to die,
Yeah,
which they say if he gets distracted, but like, well, don't know if that's true because he was getting his ass kicked in that fight.
yeah, which is true, true. So I don't know. I think it makes sense still. I just wish they would like maybe just give a little bit more of a state like a hard pillar of like no, that's the rule. But whatever. It's vague enough where you go like whatever, who gives a shit. But yeah, I agree with you. Like who could it could be a little bit more clear.
Yeah,
But
could be. It's
yeah,
interesting,
we'll
but
see.
yeah, other cameos that I really liked, that I really enjoyed seeing. Spectacular Spider-Man is in there. I think that's one of the best animated movies of all time. I like how small he is.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Uh,
know,
so
right? They got it
yeah,
so perfect.
Spider-Man Unlimited is in there. I
Oh,
can't. I'm trying to look up his name, but Ed, I know that's a special one for you and I because like
bro,
that was like the late '90s.
I
It was like
know.
Fox Saturday. You
Yes.
know?
So
Yeah.
good.
And it was so cool because he got sent to this like alternate planet because he got shot up into the moon, and it's just really cool. Um,
It's
uh,
wild. It's
Other
really
ones I
wild.
love. Oh, I really liked the I think his name is Web Slinger. He's the cowboy Spider-Man. Like that
Yeah,
was
with the
cool.
horse.
Yeah, with the horse, and why
Yeah,
does
the
the horse
horse
have
is
a
great.
mask? Yeah, I really liked that one.
I
Uh,
like the T-Rex. That was a nice little
Spider Rex, I
surprise.
think is what it's
Yeah.
called. Yeah,
That's pretty fucking funny.
that was funny. Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, dude, I really
It's
liked
so
it.
good. Yeah, I mean, seeing a lot of these like ones from I'm sure people who've read all the comics are even freaking out more so about some of the people who didn't have like words in the movie or straight up and they're just like wow, they like literally got everything in there. I think
Yeah,
it's
they.
I think
Yeah.
it's really cool the idea that now when you watch back or read back on any of the comics or any of the shows, you can go forward knowing that in the back of all those Spider-Man's minds, they know about all this
Yeah.
and that they're dealing with their own shit, but they also they know about everything here that's happening, and it's just kind of
Mhm.
cool to go
Yeah.
like stretch that far back into people's childhoods and all that, and bringing it all forward into the modern age. I think is just like something really special. I think. It's pretty cool. It could easily come off as like gimmicky, and in a lot of ways, honestly, it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know, when you're this big a fan, and when like Spider-Man is such an iconic superhero, and it's just it's bar none that he may just be the most successful superhero by far in terms of just social and even social the social economic standpoint.
I think he is, yeah.
I it's hard to argue that, like,
Yep.
yeah, for that, and it's like, yeah, it's just so cool. It's just really, I'm glad
It's
that
insanely cool.
Sony keeps doing this. It's one of the only things that Sony does right. Like, seriously, like they just nail it almost every single time in the Spider-Man verse, at least recently, and so it's really cool to see. Okay, some other things I really loved. Again,
Yes, let's talk about it.
dude, I've always been a fan of Spidey Gwen, Spider Woman, however you want to call it, Gwen
Yeah,
Stacy.
Spider-Woman, yeah, let's call her Spider-Woman.
She's just in the show that I've watched, in the comics that I've seen. I just think she's a great fucking character. I love her. I love her look. And Haley Steinfeld, and like just where they took her character in this movie,
Mhm.
it's just everything I've been wanting for
Yeah.
that character. She's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
I love how I love her, just her overall demeanor. I love the way Haley plays her as this like punk girl, but also she is very much someone that you can relate to. She doesn't come off as overly a modern woman, which is fantastic. She has to work for everything that she earns. She has to go through heartache. She's hardly a modern superhero that they're trying to feed us, especially the Disney types. Take some fucking notes. And her world is so cool. Again, I just love the fact they started with her, and like I didn't even care where Miles was for a second, because I just the story, that small story there for that first, maybe was 15 minute opening.
Mhm.
It was just so trite and cool, and just I these are such great storytellers when you can like take everybody on a different journey within their own fucking world and franchise, and just and catapult a secondary character to being
Yeah.
much more in the forefront, and then seamlessly go back to your main character, right? And just like tie
Yeah.
all that back in together. It was like watching a show almost, and on live screen, and doing it so efficiently. The way that her colors, like the way they just went full on with the colors changing whenever there was like a
Yeah.
mood. I was just like, this
It's
is
almost like
so
a mood ring or something,
yeah,
yeah.
like I said. Well, I'm glad you said that in their Fandango interview. Not that I'm like teeing up to Fandango, but they said that, like, she literally says like her world is like a mood ring, and I was just like,
Yeah.
that's so fucking sick.
Yeah.
And again, the Spider-Man India, dude, that whole sequence was
I mean, look,
so awesome.
Since you decided to take Spider-Gwen's story, which I
Go
do
for it.
think she's really, really amazing
I
in
love her. She's
this,
one of
and
my new
Haley Steinfeld.
Spider-Man in general, Spider-Man women in general. She's
Yeah,
just so
and Haley
fucking awesome.
Steinfeld, she does a fantastic job. But man,
Kills
can we
it.
talk about Pavitr?
What
I
an
mean,
introduction.
Yeah, what an introduction.
Loved him.
Like,
He's so funny.
I think like it was so funny, and like that whole thing can be seen as insanely frantic, but like when like I just loved everything about it. You wouldn't say TT.
Yeah, the
Chai
chai
tea
chai
is
tea.
literally T for T. You wouldn't say non bread. You just say non. You wouldn't say bread. Like all that stuff is really great. When he's doing the whole intro and he's like, "There's traffic here. There's traffic here. There's traffic here," and we have a big Indian audience,
Yeah.
obviously. And like we have one of our followers. It has like him as a picture. I think his name is Akash, at least on YouTube.
Okay, gosh.
But like, and like it was just so well done. The way he has like his perfect hair, almost like a Bollywood star,
Yeah.
and how it
Yes.
doesn't move.
He he acknowledges just like his good looks, which is
Yeah, I
so
was
great.
so like enthralled by
Love
that character so much, because I just
Probably
think,
my
like,
favorite new Spider-Man character.
yeah, I'm
in the
so
group.
excited to see him be part of the
Easily my
team
favorite.
going forward. I think it was that whole scene was
want a show.
amazing.
I
Yeah,
want a show,
it's
bro. I need
dude,
a show with that guy.
I
Or
don't
no, on a
know.
new movie. I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't know what he uses to swing, but
Again,
whatever that was,
I call it a yo-yo. I'm fucking around though. I
a
know it's
bangle
something
or
else.
something.
It's some sort of bangle thing. I don't know, but it's cool. I like it a lot.
But
yeah,
it was really, really cool. It was really, really dope. So Spider-Man India in the comics doesn't actually look like him. He looks a lot different. He looks more just like Peter Parker Spider-Man. Like they redesigned the suit for this movie.
for the
And
movie.
yeah. They redesigned the
No
suit. For the movie.
way.
Yeah. They changed the suit because Spider-Man India is like he basically just looked like Spider-Man, but with a little bit different stuff.
Oh,
And
I'm kind of seeing it here. He's like, well, in
yeah,
this picture, he's got like white pants, and his like his shirt kind of droops over as like a, I don't know what you call those, but like where it covers your dick, like whatever that thing is. I don't know.
okay, well, yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that thing, whatever it is. Okay, cool design here too. But okay, I'll say this then. What a great design. I don't know
yeah,
who designed that. Fucking give that person a raise right now. It's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
It's awesome.
Uh, it's really, 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 really cool how
It's
they did
really
that,
cool.
and how they like kind of honored the culture there, and I
Yes.
thought that that he was my favorite. That whole section of the movie where Miles follows Gwen, into that into the multiverse, and
Yeah.
that whole section is amazing. I loved
I
every minute of the
completely
India
agree with you.
section, them fighting through it when Spider Punk comes through,
Yeah. Hobie.
Hobie, sorry. Yeah, like when he comes through and I can't understand what the fuck he's saying because his accent's so thick.
Daniel Kaluuya is great.
Loved it. Daniel Kaluuya is amazing in it. Um, the art style of Hobie versus the art style of Spider-Man India, like the punk rock with the like newspaper clippings kind of happen. Like that's all like
It's it's just like endlessly rich with
fantastic.
that. The detail is
Yeah.
insane,
Yes.
insane in these movies, man. I
Yes.
just
Yes. Yes. Dude,
the
it's
amount of artistry, it's just like what the fuck. It's we don't deserve it. We just don't
no.
deserve it. And they delivered yet again. I would say even further this time. I mean, just props to the fucking animators on this, man. Would you call this one of the best animated films of all time in that sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
definitely
Okay,
one of the best.
alongside the like Into the
Yeah,
Spider-Verse
yeah. It's definitely
animated
one of the
keeps
best
going.
of all time. Yeah, like I
I
would
think they
put
just
that.
keep going.
And if we're just talking in terms of animation and
Yeah, yeah.
story-wise, it's
Animated movie.
equal
Yeah.
or surpassed Into the Spider-Verse
Yeah,
to me.
right, right, right.
Like that's just it, dude. Like
It's
it's
just obvious. Yeah.
again, like I can't wait to I don't get me wrong, I loved watching this on the big screen, but we both spent too much money on TVs, so I can't wait to watch this at home in
Oh my
4K.
god, dude. I'm
It's
like,
gonna be amazing. Like put this out on
yeah,
digital tomorrow.
hell yeah.
I'll buy it. I'll rebuy it. I'll rebuy it.
I 100%. I'm gonna watch this again in theaters. Like again,
Yeah, yeah.
I think this is like I liked it more than the first. I'm gonna watch it again, and I'll be curious to see though if
Hmm.
maybe if it holds up as well as my first viewing, because I don't disagree with like some of the criticisms you gave. Like maybe this was like a first, like beginner's luck kind of thing, but I don't know. I found myself like I really loved the story. I really did.
Mm,
I think they did a great job with the whole that all the Spider-Men keeping Miles on a line that he didn't know about. I thought was just a great, that was a little play on the Spider-Man story that I think was different this time around that we haven't seen. At least I've read all the comics. I'm sure maybe they've done some a version of that. I don't know. But like in
hmm.
the movie verse, I thought it was very, very new. I love that like Gwen this time, if you see Miles as the main Spider-Man, his love interest being Gwen and being another Spider Woman who's in the world and understands him, and she is the one having him on the thread, like
Yeah,
she's the one kind of controlling the relationship, was really fun to see because
yeah,
typically it's Peter. He
yeah.
decides whether we do this or we don't. But
Right.
Gwen does it, and I just love
Yeah,
the whole. It's not just for Miles's sake; it's
yeah,
or it's not for their relationship's sake. It's also
yeah.
for Miles's sake when you realize, oh, Miles wasn't meant to be the Spider-Man. Also, that's a new point that I didn't realize was really interesting. Was that this is the first time in our thing where it's like, oh, we have a Spider-Man here that wasn't meant to be a Spider-Man. I was like, I didn't even know that was like that could be a thing. I was like, that's
Okay.
pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty
I
interesting. I'm sure it'll pay off in the hopefully it does in
it
part two.
Another
But
interesting thing that I don't know if a lot of people have talked about is that, well, something that made the story good is that you harp on, you get the message that Spider-Man always has to make tough decisions, always forced to do things he doesn't like to do
sacrifice.
in sacrifice, and like nobody talks about all the Spider-Man people that he met before. They have to be willing to betray their friend. They have to be willing to say, because they know it has to happen. And like so, the struggle that Peter B. Parker has to go through, the struggle that Spider Gwen has to go through,
Yeah.
all of them, that knew him and have to watch his world get destroyed.
Right.
Like that's something that's like a minor story detail that you don't really harping on, but when you think about it, it's like, oh, it's overall story because all the spider people have to deal with it,
Right.
especially Peter B. Parker and Gwen Stacy. So like I thought that was really like a nice, clever way. Yeah, man, it was really good. Any disappointing characters? Any characters you were just like, didn't leave the.
That's a good question. A disappointing. I mean, off the bat, off my head, I'm like, not particularly. I mean, I guess I wouldn't. Disappointment's too harsh of a word. I think there was no one that I was particularly bothered by, and did
Yeah.
and went, and then also subsequently went like, that they could have done more. I think if anything, who got a short end of a stick, surprisingly, was Issa Rae. Like what her character.
You took it from me. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I thought
was a
she would be
little.
more in it.
I
in a
was I
sense.
was hoping for more. I was just like, it was a cool intro, but like,
She doesn't have like her own story. She doesn't.
no,
She has
she's
a
like,
baby, and that's
she
like
gets
fine.
shortchanged, right?
But at
Really
the same,
shortchanged.
she does. At the same time, it's like, I mean, I don't think they did a disservice to her character. I like her character a lot.
Right.
And so, yeah, it might have been too much, right, at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I guess
it's where it's where I go like, she's in it enough where you go like, she's cool. I like her. She plays her role. But yeah, obviously, I'd love to see her. But just the amount of with the amount of marketing they had towards her, I thought she was going to be a little more a part of the story. She definitely gets sidelined. That being said, I'm not like disappointed by her or any
yeah,
particular thing in that,
disappointed is
but I
the
agree with
wrong
you.
word, but I think like
Yeah,
it's just like
it's a
I
missed opportunity, I think, for
I
sure.
thought it was a missed opportunity. I think Issa Rae is hilarious
She's
and
great. She's great.
like a great actress. So I kind of was like, when I was excited to hear that she was playing Just Drew, and I was like, cool. And then I was just kind of like, I feel like they missed something. Like,
Yeah, like because
but
at
I
least
can
even on the writing, like there was not. She doesn't get a liner, right? Like I can't
no, there was no.
remember a standout line that she said, and I don't know if that's part of her character. Like that's just par for the course for her character. I don't know her character very well, but yeah, you don't. She starts to really go behind a lot of the ones that kind of come forward, and it's like whatever. Like not everyone can win. What can I say? But
Yeah.
I hardly think that she was disservice. So that's
Yeah.
hopefully the next one. She's obviously in the next one. Hopefully there's more.
Yeah,
there.
she's clearly going to be the person that kind of, let's just say, turns everything around for Miguel, and like really kind of, she's going to be the first to cross the picket line, if you will. I'll join Gwen Stacy. I'll help Miles Morales. Let's save the universe together.
Do you feel like Miguel's on his own here? What do you think the other Spider people are? How do you think the other Spider-Men are looking at what Miles did? Do you think that you said there's a Spider War coming? So do you think that's what it is? Like there's half of them that's going to go, oh, holy shit. Like, do you think that Miles opened up a new door for a lot of them and opened up their minds about like, well, oh, I guess I can try to change. Like,
I mean, he did because he has Peter B. Parker, but he also has, Hobie kind of helped him, convince him to, fight the establishment, good old punk rock stuff. But yeah, all the things Hobie said were funny when I could hear him. But like he clearly got some new people on his side because they met him and he showed what he was about. And I think that he got some. I think he'll have some other Spider-Men help him out along the way. I don't like beyond the Spider-Verse. I really want to know if it's like, like how big is it gonna go, or are you gonna keep it contained to the team that we saw versus Miguel's team? Versus
I think
Spot.
I love the idea. I think you're right about the Spider War thing. I think what's going to happen is that Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to wrap up Miles' story, but then it's going to kick off the side story that he started, where we're introduced to this whole universe now, and it's going to be like a Civil War moment.
Yeah,
because dude, when the moment you said that, I'm like, oh fuck yeah. Oh, Spider-Man versus Spider-Man of all these types. Are you shitting me right now? Hell to the let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, fuck yeah. It's so cool. And I can only hope that that's like that's in the cards after Beyond the Spider-Verse. They're going to be doing more, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Were there any bad moments in the movie? Because I only have one.
I told you, man. It's like, I like it.
No, I have one bad moment that pissed me off.
Pissed off. Oh, no. So, no. 100% didn't have a piss off moment. Not even
The
close. But what was yours?
spot going through to Mrs. Chen or whatever the fuck her name
Oh,
was in
Venom.
Venom 2.
Oh yeah, the Venom.
Because
I forgot
that's
about that.
literally the scene from Venom 2 that it's the same scene.
Yeah.
I did not like that. I was just
I thought
like,
it was. Look. I don't have any opinions about Venom movies.
well,
So
I was like,
just like, whatever. Who
I was
cares?
like, you spent so much money on this movie, you can't fucking shoot a new scene. You can't shoot with Tom Hardy. It has to be Mrs. Chen. Like,
But
you
here's the
can't
thing.
shoot with like
I
I
was
just like,
happy it was Mrs. Chen. I was happy it was Mrs. Chen because I didn't want Tom Hardy. I mean, that's me. Because
well, it doesn't have to be Tom Hardy. I'm just using him as an example.
yeah.
I just like would have liked something.
I hear you. I hear you. I know what you mean. I just hate Venom so much. I don't give a shit about those movies. I don't give a shit at all.
That's fair.
She is the common denominator, I think, for anybody who's watched the Venom movies. You can't hate Mrs. Chen. She's fantastic.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
I don't hate Mrs. Chen. I don't.
Yeah.
I just like
I know.
the
I'm just
effort
saying.
given into
I
it.
know.
You
I
know?
don't disagree with you. At the same time, it's like it's the common denominator. Like just hearing her
Okay,
not give a
alright.
shit, like hearing her be her is just I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think I would have liked I preferred that over what they may have done with fucking Tom Hardy. Which wait, hold on. I can't say that for sure. Who knows? But I wasn't bothered with it. I thought that was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. If there's any little nod to Venom they can do, I thought that was the one that made sense. I don't know, right? So
Okay, that's fair. That's fine.
but hey, I don't I get it. I totally
That was
get
the
it.
only moment where I was just like annoyed. I was like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
I don't understand
But,
why. Why do we do this?
Because of course they're gonna hit if you're gonna fucking put if you're gonna put Donald Glover Prowler, you gotta have a nod to Venom. Like that's just got it's made their movies made $2 billion or whatever the fuck. I don't know. So
Okay, yeah. You're right.
it's
you're right.
inevitable. It's inevitable. You gotta have it. You gotta have it for the Venom lovers out there. Anyways, really quickly, just because I feel like I'm doing a huge disservice that we don't have to talk about too long, but I mean, come on. Spider-Man 2099 played by Oscar Isaac. Is there anything Oscar Isaac, in my opinion, does wrong? I don't think so. I thought he played him great. I love that character.
I have no problems. He was a good villain.
He's awesome.
Good stoic.
Yeah,
I would like to learn some more about him, but I have no
Played his
issues
role.
with him. Yeah, I think they did a great job by not focusing on him too much.
Yes.
Here's a guy who has one purpose. That's it. They're not interested in focusing on his backstory. Just like here's a little bit, boom, go. Like because again, I don't know where Beyond goes. I don't know if it goes to a Spider War or if it goes to to Miles and this guy having a big fight and a Peter Parker dies. Maybe I think that could happen. But for me, I think eventually he'll come to the good side to help defeat Spot.
Sure.
So
I think ultimately,
I think the storytellers and writers made a very good decision to not make him this outright evil character. Right. Because if you do that and he comes back over, it's irredeemable. So
of course, 100%.
And I think everybody's redeemable because that's Spider-Man. That's how it works.
Right. Yeah. We'll see. Obviously, he's going to be in the next one. I'd love to see where he goes. I do think he'll just end up being obviously, a good guy at the end of the day. But I do like his dynamic being like this ninja vampire who's a little who could go unhinged at
any moment. Yeah, I think we'll get to see that, and Miles will save him or somebody will save him. Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm very excited for Beyond the Spider-Verse. Again, this doesn't top Into the Spider-Verse, but this is a fantastic movie. The animation is insane.
Insane.
I just don't know how they did it. Sony, you are the new Pixar. Great job.
Yeah.
Put out other movies that look like this that can do this, and you will make a lot of money.
I think they will. I think they'll take the idea of their style and like transplant it to another property. I think that's inevitable. I think that's inevitable.
I agree.
And I think that's cool. I'd like to see that. I'd like to think that it's not just exclusive to this franchise because I think the art style in and of itself is like such an entity. It's such a force. It's like it can't be just held to this. So it'd be exciting to see what they do with it. But anyways, we're an hour in. Inevitably, it's going to be. I definitely think that. Well, how about this? Just really quick, just to get. I mean, where would you put it in the pantheon of Spider-Man films? Would it be your third one? Because here's Spider-Man 2 is still not
There's
dethroned.
one.
I don't think
Yeah,
it'll
I
ever be
agree.
dethroned. It's gonna be difficult to do that.
Yeah.
Second is probably this as of right now, and then Into the Spider-Verse for me. But like the 2 animated films are up there. Like it's just
Where would I put this? Where would I put this? I
You
think
feel
I
like
would
No
put
Way Home would be up
Spider-Man
there somewhere?
2, Into the Spider-Verse would be second.
Right.
The original Spider-Man would be third. This would probably be fourth.
Okay, okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's just such a special place in my heart for that original Spider-Man movie that I just can't.
Dude, it's excellent. It's
Yeah,
excellent. I
I
think
can't.
as of now, I think I would have it as fourth.
Okay.
But it's again, it's like all talking diamonds. Like hard, it just depends on the day.
Yeah, again, we're just picking like it's like we're rich guys and we're let's say something that you would do instead of me. Okay, like if
Are you gonna say Ferraris or something?
yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
which car are we gonna take out? But
I get it.
today,
I can understand.
today
that.
we'll do Rolexes. Which Rolex
Right,
we'll wear,
right,
or which
right.
gaming system we'll use.
Thank you. I really appreciate you pandering to me.
You're
Anyways, guys, that is our review of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more of these. Got a lot of new Indian content coming your way. We're
None
still
this
going
week.
None this week. Busy.
Sorry.
You guys already know. We're not gonna go into it too much, but
Yeah.
but we promise we're still going for it. Thank you so much again for being there. The comments are great, dude. I think we should do we should start a show sometimes like the last episode's comments, because like there's people are just
comment recap.
Love
some of the
They're
comments.
so
I
good.
love the comments on Gangs of Wasseypur.
That's what I'm talking
one
about.
of them
They're
says
so good.
one of them says you call yourselves cinephiles. Well, cinephiles are allowed to dislike stuff, by the way.
Yeah, it's there's a lot. Okay, we won't get into it. There's a lot to talk about, but I just, negative or positive, what's cool is that people care, and I think they deserve to be
and
engaged with and rewarded.
I'll say this one on our next Indian episode, but the fact that we haven't lost any subscribers, we've actually gained subscribers from us kind of not liking a movie that's very, very popular in India is immense respect to you guys. And we've gotten so many comments via Instagram or on YouTube that are just like, yo, thanks for being honest. And that's who we are. We're going to be honest. We're not going to listen.
Yeah.
I will stick by my words. Any American that hasn't been enthralled in this culture for over 5 to 10 years, ain't no way they fully understood and liked the first part. No fucking way.
No.
They're gaslighting you, but whatever.
Yeah. That's it. Well, again, this is why we need to have a commentary on the next time, and we'll work that in. Anyways, guys, that's it for us this time, and some more coming your way, and we'll see you later.
Later, guys. Thank you.